Question. It was October 24, 2018, and I had visited the Hell realm quite often lately. Today, I was invited to meet a high-ranking officer of the underworld, the King of Hell. In a haze, I arrived at a very modern-looking building. I entered, immediately spotting the king at his desk. I was caught completely off guard by the interior design, as all of the furnishings and equipment were modern. It looked similar to the offices we are familiar with in the modern human realm. The King of Hell appeared stern and solemn. I put my palms together and paid my respect. The king said, "I am responsible for the life and death of the mortals in Country X, the country where I live. Regardless of their faith and religion, they will be sent here to be tried by law and sentenced after their deaths. Those who should descend to hell will go to hell. Those who should be reborn into the human realm will be reborn as humans. For those who follow different Dharma doors Buddhist practices, if their benevolent rewards have reached fruition, they won't need to come here upon their death. They will be taken into the care of the Bodhisattvas and Dharma protectors of their Dharma door, and go straight to the heavenly realm or to the Buddha's pure land. If a person is neither good nor evil when alive, and they do not wish to be reborn into the human realm, they may choose to live in the underworld. There are residential properties here, and the environment looks exactly like the environment in the human world. The only difference is the space and dimension. The underworld is very complex, and not something you humans can comprehend. Here, let me give you a communication device. Give it to the Dharma protectors of Guanyinpusa Dharma door so that in future, the underworld can be informed when you are to tour the hells, and I can arrange for my officers to escort you. Some Dharma doors have been passed down for many generations. Guanyinpusa Dharma door is considered a new Dharma door in Buddhism. Both in heaven and the underworld, Guanyin Bodhisattva is very well known. Beings of the underworld also know of this Bodhisattva. The king continued. In reality, regardless of your spiritual practice or faith, everything acts in accordance with the law of karma, namely, virtue has its reward, evil its retribution. To have a kind and benevolent heart is the right dharma. That is the aim of every religion or faith. The laws of the underworld are also designed in a way that follows the law of karma, with punishments meted out accordingly. You mortals in the human world are foolish. You are ignorant of both karma and the laws of the underworld. You must understand that if you speak irresponsibly about Guanyinpusa Dharma door, the officers of the underworld will record it. If your verbal misconduct is minor, then it's considered a minor unwholesome deed. If your verbal misconduct is severe, we will record it as a serious unwholesome deed. You reap what you sow, and it will be too late for pleading after you die. I hand down sentences according only to the consequences that you alone have created. The underworld is concerned only with consequences, not the cause. If someone has accumulated merits and virtues when alive, then I would use their merit virtues to reduce the length of their punishment before determining where they will go to according to their karmic conditions. Regardless of which Dharma door a person follows, each practice has a unique method of accumulating merits and virtues, and each has its own Dharma protectors in charge. From this perspective, the book of life and death is not completely under the control of the underworld. Rather, it is determined by your own evil deeds or benevolence. You mortals of the human world are truly foolish. If you are ignorant about something, it's better not to talk. Some, after a few years' spiritual practice, think they know it all. But how could you possibly comprehend the worlds beyond? How could you possibly know about all the religious practices that exist across time and space? Some practitioners act promiscuously, or they kill, or they lie. Can they be considered practitioners? The practitioners I mentioned here comprise followers of all religious practices, naturally including Guanyinpusa Dharma door. Guanyin Bodhisattva is truly compassionate and merciful. She has been keeping heaven from delivering their judgment to punish you sentient beings. She explains that the sentient beings deserve pity as their unwholesome deeds are committed out of ignorance. She constantly asks the Dharma protectors to have mercy on you all. Are your minds so truly blind as to be unable to differentiate between benevolence and evil? Wholesome and unwholesome consequences are created by oneself. If you are ignorant about karma and thus create negative karma, suffering misfortunes, don't you think it's shameless to blame your fate on heaven or the underworld? The Bodhisattvas are merciful, but that does not mean they tolerate your continued committing of unwholesome deeds. Your master knows about the matters of heaven and the underworld. He is strict with you disciples because he understands the consequences. When karmic retribution occurs, you are the ones who suffered, don't you understand? The officer was speaking in Arabic, but I could understand his words. When I spoke to him in Chinese, he also understood. The king added, "The clerks here are always very busy, as they are constantly keeping track of and recording all the wholesome and unwholesome deeds that each person is committing in the human world. People of different faiths argue and bicker about their differences and about what's right and wrong. In my eyes, it is all a deed of verbal misconduct. Such foolishness." I asked curiously, if a foreigner dies in this country, how would the underworld deal with it? Glaring at me briefly, the king answered, "I suppose there's no harm in telling you. When a foreigner dies in this country, uniformed patrolling officers take them here and check their nationality. There are many portals in the underworld, and they will be sent to the underworld of their home country. If the foreigner has lived in this country and created unwholesome deeds here, then I would write a formal letter about the degree of the committed misdeeds. After that, I would have officers escort and repatriate them to their home country's underworld. Several great hells would accommodate all offenders regardless of their nationality. Every country's underworld has portals connected directly to those great hells. If they are a permanent resident here, then I will be in charge and will treat them as one of our national citizens. All right, you may return. Practice diligently. The Dharma protecting bodhisattvas of your religious practice are great. They are constantly and secretly protecting and blessing you practitioners. You must not commit unwholesome deeds. Return and sincerely express gratitude to Guanyin Bodhisattva, who has been showing constant mercy in order to save you sentient beings. You just do not know about it. There are still those who badmouth the Dharma door. Where is their conscience?" Soon, my consciousness returned. Master Jun Hong Lu's reply. "She has revealed many things about the underworld, and that's why you must not act recklessly. Practicing Buddhism is no laughing matter. Why do so many young people die? On the surface, you think there must be some reason, such as having a disease like cancer. But in reality, it's because there are karmic obstacles. Many people in the past were too vocal, they had a way with words, but they used them to criticize others with irony. All of these instances are considered deeds of verbal misconduct. If they are not careful, negative karma will be created, and when the karmic retribution manifests, they may die young.